Ladies and gentlemen, the fifth inductee for 2010 to the Ovens and Murray Hall of Fame is Terry Cross.
Terry Cross's entry into the Ovens and Murray League at the age of 17 in the early 1970s coincided with one of the bleakest periods in the Tigers' history. But out of adversity would emerge one of the greatest players to wear the yellow and black. In a career spanning 237 games, Cross's dashes from half-back, his courage and his ability to win the footy in contested situations were a constant. Cross won the first of a record-equalling 4 best and fairest in his second season at senior level in 1972, before going back-to-back the following year and winning the Club Champion Award again in 1977 and 1978. Cross was a regular Ovens and Murray interleague representative at the peak of his powers. However, the ultimate success of premierships would only come in the twilight of his career. But far from being a spent force, Cross would play in 2 premiership wins in 1982 and 1985 alongside his brother Peter, who is also regarded as an Albury great. The Cross brothers sit second and third for the most games played at Tigerland, behind current player Matt Fowler. The Tigers had a fierce rivalry with Lavington at the start of the 1980s, and in 3 grand final showdowns in 4 years, Albury took the honours twice. Cross, who was among the best players in the 1982 triumph, played in 4 grand finals in total, and in retirement he has continued to contribute to developing the next crop of stars as a coach at junior level. Terry Cross, a humble hero and worthy inductee into the Ovens and Murray Hall of Fame.
Please make him welcome, Mr. Terry Cross.
When I was told about this a while ago, I just thought I'd come up to you and say hello, thank you, and get on and get off, and that'll be it. And it wouldn't have surprised many people at all. But I guess in that time, I got time to reflect. You know, the influence that the football, the game, the league, and the Albury Footy Club's had on myself. And you know, it's just had such a big influence on me that, yeah, I better say a few words, I guess. You know, I just go back to a time when I started, you know, a bit like the other guys. I just grew up in Albury, in East Albury here, and really the Ovens and Murray was it for me. From the first time, you know, I went and had a kick out in the street with Mick across the road. He got me out when I was about, I don't know, 6 or 7, and we just had a kick, and from there it was, you know, I just fell in love with the game. It was magnificent. From there, you know, my first game, I remember my first game of footy here, when the Brave boys down at St Bridges played the mongrels out at St Anne's. We had some superstars like little Marky the small one, Essler, Wayne, Fardy Gould, against the brutes of Leo Pusser Percy and Rod Grubgraver. They beat us 1 point to 2 points, and they've been dirty 50 years later. And I'm really, you know, those guys are still mates today, which is great. You know, I can remember back in those days when Dad used to tell me about the greats he used to go and see in the Ovens and Murray. Folks like Jimmy Sandrell, Donnie Ross, Jack Jones, Jimmy Matthews, you know, and the list just went on and on. It was, you know, just something to aspire to. And as a young kid growing up, to be able to go down to the sports ground, watch there, or go out to Button Park, perfect time for me when I was growing up was Sunday we played football, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday was either training for the weekend side or school side. Wednesday was playing for the school side. And the weekends we used to be able to go and watch the locals play. And they just took our mind away. At a young age, I can always remember, which is quite unusual for someone here, I used to always follow the Wing Rovers with my side. Used to go and watch Kenny Boyd. He was, took my mind away. Kenny would come out in the first half, long sleeve jumper, come in the second half with a short sleeve, and they used to grow about 10 extra legs and used to dominate. Then another guy that took my imagination as a young bloke was when I used to go to North Albury and watch them, and they had a bloke that's called Sam Donovan. Was he could do anything, and for a young teenager he just took the imagination away all the time. Just from there, I guess it's just on 40 years ago now that I end up walking into the Albury Footy Club. The first night of training, shy guy that I was running late. They were already out in the field. I turned around and went home. I was, just that shy. So, but thankfully I went back the second night and continued on from there. And another guy, I went there with Rod Grubgrave, one of those brutes from St Anne's, and we still had another year of junior footy to go. They weren't all that keen to clear us and so forth from there, but I think all we offered them 2 old scrubby footballs, and all of a sudden we were signed up and ready to go. It was great. And during that time, as I said, the football club was on their knees. I think in the last 40 years, I think it's about 3 or 4 times football clubs been on their knees, and financially and player-wise, and really it gave me an opportunity to play Ovens and Murray. It gave me an opportunity to establish myself, and I was always thankful for that, for their downtime, I guess. It's very similar to what Myrtleford is at the moment in Corowa, where things are not looking too good, but because of that I got an opportunity. A lot of other guys got an opportunity too to play Ovens and Murray, and because of that, hopefully we made that place a better, and I'm sure that it can happen for the others as well. During playing there, I met a lot of good people, a lot of good people on the committee. Each time that we did strike trouble, a lot of good people put their hand up to be able to get the place up and running again. And because of that, great friendships evolved with people off the field as well as on the field. People like the Sheevers and the Regans that get out there, put their hand up and put the place together. You owe me a beer, boys, too, I mentioned, But players as well. I've been fortunate to play with a lot of good players. Naturally, the guy that started at the same time was Gibbo, Peter Gibbons. We had 11 years together. Gibbo, Saturday just wouldn't be the same without you, or Sunday, or Monday, younger days, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But the McGuffies, the John Clancy's, the Doolins, my own brother Peter spent 11 years together, the Bakeses, the Balls, the Coellies, the McNeils, and the list goes on, and I know I've forgotten a few too, which I'm probably getting in trouble for. Opponents, I was very lucky in my younger days to play against a lot of very good players that really taught me a lot as well. Blokes like the Billy Salmons, the Jack O'Hallorans, Johnny Smith. The only thing about Smith, you had to check the critic each year to see who he was playing with. The Eddie Flynns and the Brucey Stewarts and the Steve Headleys of this world. It was always a great challenge to play them, and just playing against them, you always learnt a bit each time. And it's probably, I will tell, I might tell one story, I guess. It was around the Bobby Tate on Sunday there down town here, and it brought back a memory of a story. I'll tell you one story. I guess football for me was always fairly serious, but this day was a little bit different. We're playing Yarrawonga down there. It was in the middle of the 70s. Tatey's playing against our big Bruce Waite, our ruckman itself. The ball's gone up about our centre half back, and naturally being ruckman, they both missed it and the ball's come to the ground. They both jumped in, and lo and behold, I've gone straight in after him, and I've hit Bruce straight across the eye and opened him up. Blood's come out and so forth. Anyway, felt a bit bad. But anyway, about 2 minutes later, the siren's gone. We gone and sat in the rooms. And who should be sit next to was Wadey with the cut eye and so forth, and the blood coming out. And I felt a bit sorry, felt a bit guilty, and I thought, oh shit, I better tell him, my feelings. I'm sorry about this, Bruce, and so forth. Anyway, Robbie had us sat down there, and just before he spoke, Wadey turned to me and said, "That bloody Tate, the mongrel, look what he's done to me." Feeling a bit guilty, I slowly turned to Bruce, looked him in the eye, just told him what a mongrel Tate he was and get into it. Family's been huge for us. Mum and Dad. Mum was there when I played that first game. They both are there. Mum and Dad went right through with us. Always supporting, always there, always giving us plenty of encouragement, never complaining. Yeah, they were just terrific. I think the only time Mum Mum was a great sports person. Mum's in her 80s now, and still, anybody's up for a tennis game, Mum will challenge them any day of the week. She's very competitive in that way. The only time Mum ever really got sick of sport that I can ever remember was going back to my school days, coming home from school. Peter would grab me and we'd go down the backyard and have a game of footy. I was the umpire. Peter didn't like my decisions. Next thing, he's trying to knock my head off. Mum would come out, pull the ball out, put it away, told us to get inside. We weren't to play again. Next day, we'd be out the back, playing football again. Peter would be trying to knock my head off. Mum would be out. There's been great support for both of us at the football. Brothers and sisters who also supported us immensely. Unfortunately, they had to sit next to Mum and Dad at the football. It wasn't, well, Peter might have got a little bit of white line fever, but it wasn't in my case. But Mum and Dad definitely got the white line fever when we played. Their support was very well known around the place. As I said, the sisters and brothers have been great for us. And as well as Peter, as I said before, Peter, I spent 11 years with Peter at the footy club, and really the highlight for me is that with my brother to be able to play that, and then B is to be able to share 2 premierships with him, and it's undoubtedly the highlight of my whole footy career to be able to get that package together. The memories of Simon and Bree, my son and daughter, after the flags, carrying Simon around the ground on my shoulders the first time, and the second time walking them both around the ground, is just something that will stay with me for a very long time. I know, we all make sacrifices to play football, but really what we're doing is really doing what we love. And it's those that are close to us that really makes the sacrifice, and whether we're playing or coaching, we're always thankful for them to being there and supporting all along. As I said at the very beginning, was that it would have been quite simple just to come up here and say thank you and be off, but that's what I'm left with now, just to thank the people who've organised this, people, Greg and Jumbo that's helped out the football club organising the night, everybody that's had anything to do tonight. It's quite, to be acknowledged in this way is, I just can't put it in words, and I'll just thank you very much.